We should be playing the game mode and feeling what it feels like and what feels good and what feels bad.
You're saying
like,
it needs more development time?
Yes, more than 0. Yes.
Is this going to be a mess?
What is the state of 6v6? Where does it situate in the whole larger picture of how we view Overwatch?
Well, they're not developing it anymore. They basically threw it out onto the street and said, here you go, here's your 6v6, and then just left it there. It hasn't been patched in 4.5 seasons.
Philo first. Philo, I think you're the first person who mentioned 6v6, if I remember correctly, in the call.
All right, we're cooking here. Two things. The things I mentioned earlier.
I hope my boy does well. I really hope he does well.
Elaborate a little bit more. One is just generally the development attention. I think it deserves the fraction of the player base. It deserves the fraction of the development time.
Yes, and I do not think it demands a lot of development time. I think it demands numbers tweaks for the most part. I don't want anything interesting. I just want numbers tweaks.
I don't know exactly what that is. 5%, 10%, 15%, whatever. Let them have the development time. There's whether that's individual perk adjustments if necessary, individual balance adjustments if necessary. Whatever the play. Listen. I understand the argument of they're gonna be vocal. Okay, fine. If they're playing the mode, they deserve the development time, whatever that development time may be. Second thing, I think in general, I touched on this earlier. I think in general, the development philosophy with 6v6, I think that they were too conservative. In terms of, I think that they were too scared of tanks being oppressive in 6v6.
Yeah, they were never going to be oppressive. They already removed loads of the synergies. They could have left it in open queue, to be honest, and without restriction on tanks, and it probably would have been absolutely fine. They could have just gone completely open queue.
And I think that the overall emphasis on slowing down these cooldown cycles, because cooldown cycles are going to be OP, because it's just I just don't care, and I don't think they should care either.
I think they did it so they didn't have to do the work to reduce the efficacy of their AoE abilities. They just did it as a we couldn't be fucked kind of an answer, where you need to change 1 or 2 numbers on the abilities instead of just changing the number on the cooldown.
Sorry, bubble with Ryan, make it OP. Sure, who cares? Malga, Cardiac, okay, fine. I mean, I wouldn't make Malga oppressive, certainly, but what is it, a 16-second cooldown is ridiculous. The whole philosophy I think, should be maybe make the cooldown weaker, but the cycle should be faster. I just think having these long 100%. Cooldown cycles, that's never something that we ever did in Overwatch. We never had those 16-second cycles.
So proud of my boy.
I think in their fear of
I'll give them some dreamies later when Spilo comes.
They did it to where you're doing. I mean, one of the things that Smito always says is make cooldown weaker, but make it happen more often, so you're able to actually engage in the game a lot faster. And I think they kind of missed the bar with that as a whole as 6v6. And I think that
the tanks are so much less interesting because of it.
Just a huge mistake. But yeah, those are my 2 points. Beyond that, I think that's all I've got to say.
Avril, as a famous representative of the 5v5 side on the 6v6 debate, how do you feel about how it's shaped up?
I barely play 6v6, but I'm okay with it existing in the game. It's probably not the exact ideal version of 6v6 that everyone wants, but it depends. I mean, because I feel like a lot of people in 6v6 don't often always agree on what version of 6v6 they want.
Do people agree with what version of 6v6 they want? I think it's pretty straight line. I don't think anyone argues for the inclusion of open queue that plays the mode for the most part. I don't think people really argue for the inclusion of longer tank cooldowns. I don't think people really argue for I think it's pretty straight line of there's a couple of things that Blizzard aren't doing that the 6v6 community generally wants, and I don't think would be much reaction if they did those in the other way.
There'll be the people that want a pre-season 9 version. They're oh no, we don't want.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the 6v6 camp argues against that though. Right? I think for the most part, people want pre-season 9 6v6, or people don't care. So that's not a really big rift in the community of 2 different things that we might want. That's just a straight line of people wanting something for the most part.
Season 9 changes go back to pre-season 9.
Yeah.
Some people like the open queue. Some people actually want a 6v6 roll queue, even though there's a...
I don't think many people that are probably into 6v6 really like the open queue for the most part. I think people find it fine. The more important thing is that roll queue would legitimize 6v6 as a mode that people actually care about.
A good reason why that can't happen is we understand that is what caused 5v5 in the first place, because 6v6 roll queue, we just didn't have enough tanks.
No, I'm not accepting this. Get screwed. Okay, so this is one that nobody ever brings up and nobody ever argues because they're all insane. There's no reason to expect that there wouldn't be a proportionate amount of tank players in the tank role as the DPS and supports if they have the same representation in terms of the numbers, the diversity of gameplay, the feel of playing the characters, and the lack of being oppressed when you're actually playing the role, right? That's just not proportional. That's not what we find. Like 6v6 is 2-2-2. That is what it is. People do like playing tanks. I actually struggle to lock tank more than I struggle to lock anything else apart from support. I like DPS is a free lock every single time I go into 6v6 open queue. That's just true. And sure, there's a little bit of pressure there because tanks are good, so people are going to be wanting to play tank even if they're flexing into it. But I find that they get insta-locked the majority of the time, and I can't play tank even when I want to play tank. So like, come on, like this isn't true. Like, people do want to play this role. The role is good, even though it's the worst version of this role with longer cooldowns and stuff like that in this mode. So why do you say this all the time? Why do people bullshit with this? We had the 6v6 role queue test immediately after that. What did Blizzard say? I actually looked for this quote. I can't find it anymore. There was a developer update release, which I think had been taken down because somebody asked me to find the source the other week, and I couldn't find it. Where they said that there was less than a 3-minute difference between the queues. Like, what are we saying? This just is counterfactual. The only evidence you can bring to me to say that the role wouldn't be populated more than the DPS role is specifically to argue for the past, before all the changes, all the new heroes, the diversity with the hero role being filled out, the amount of heroes being filled out to be more similar to DPS roles, loads of other things like that. That's the only evidence anyone ever has that people don't want to play tank, and also people not wanting to play it in 5v5. So why do people just parrot this over and over and over? I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's so crazy, man.
Yeah, like whatever version.
The October 2020 classics have role queue. Yeah, and people said that, well, that's not representative because tanking with 6v6 is an oddity here. Like, I don't know, man.
Pick a date in Overwatch 1 history, and there'll be a point where someone says, that is where I want my 6v6 to be. So
yeah, because like the date was October 2020. Nobody's really arguing for any other date, right? Like, are we going crazy here? Yeah, there is a date. We know where the date is. Start there and work on it.
I don't know that people generally have a consensus on where they want 6v6 to be in the first place.
I think they do, for the most part. I think people either don't care, or they want it to be October 2020 preseason 9 balance with role lock. I think that's most of it. There's obviously outliers, don't get me wrong, there's outliers, but that's the majority of the community.
I don't really play enough to get like a really good sense of like whether I think 6v6 is really good right now, if it's in like a good place.
I think that's kind of the point of like the development time, right? Like, how people don't agree in 5v5 either, but yet there's still a vision with what they want to do, and they're still listening to feedback and making adjustments. With 6v6 right now, it feels like, well, the players don't agree. I mean, yeah, but like that doesn't give you
the players do agree.
Excuse to not give any development time. Like, you should be playing the game mode and feeling what it feels like, and what feels good and what feels bad.
You're saying
like,
it needs more development time?
What, more than 0? Yes, Avril.
It needs the development time that it deserves from the play time that it gets.
And very fair to him. Proportional to the amount of players playing it, it needs that amount of development time in order to keep it active.
Now it gets basically almost literally 0 development, and yet it doesn't have 0% of the.
Avril acts like there's a massive divide between 6v6ers, but most 6v6ers will prefer any version of 6v6 against any version of 5v5. Yeah, and I think Avril's in this kind of like, I think this is a tactic more than anything. I'm not sure if he really believes this. It seems like a very weird thing of, I haven't even talked to any of these people, kind of a comment to make for the most part. He's so way off that I can only consider it to be bad faith, the fact that he's saying that so many different people disagree on so many things. My issue with Overwatch is that they're becoming more and more obsessed with over-evolving the game. This is becoming more and more clear with 5v5, 6v6 Stadium all existing, and Aaron saying about the philosophy on reasons to return, reasons to stay. Yeah, I'm a bit scared for the game's direction too. Yeah, 100%. Strawman Reddit argument. You make one player the big pillar of stability on the map, and it becomes oppressive to literally everyone on the map, then mirror included. Tank strength is unironically what makes 5v5 so ass, especially post-season 9. Yes, of course.
So it should get more development, is what you're saying then?
Yes, more than 0. Yes, yeah.
I don't know what would it get with more development? Like,
what are you arguing against, Avril? Is that unreasonable to ask for?
What are we talking? Is it not?
He just said the cooldowns need to be all changed and paid attention to.
Balance enough? Does it need more balance?
Yeah, like, I think there's balance issues. I mean, I think there's balance issues. I think there's hero design issues. Like I was talking about the cooldown design thing of like, I think if you played 66 for long enough and experimented with shorter cooldowns, I think you go, wow, that actually feels better from a gameplay loop standpoint. Like I said, they're
thanks. Jesus Christ, this guy is my G.
Overly scared of these tank synergies. Like if you play a lot of 66, it's really not that.
Why is Avril so agitated at the idea of developers doing their job? Because 6v6 is his trigger phrase. The KGB agent internally has activated. agitated, and he's now 6v6.
That like it's not like there's no sustained metas really in 66. So like
He's agitated. They put 6v6 in. Yeah, I actually do think. I think that's probably true. I think he's didn't want it to be in the first place, and he's not really happy that it's there. And he plays lip service to the idea that he's happy that people get to try it.
I think they were overly concerned about that. I think there's like even like certain perks that are definitely a lot stronger in 66. A good example is like the Roadhog bait perk, which is like really not great in 5v5, like the AoE bait perk, but it's actually pretty strong in 66. But like there's just like all this little like you just put some time into it and you go, oh yeah, what if you tried that? Or just little adjustments here and there, you know? But those are things that you're only gonna do when you put actual time into it, and yeah.
Right. I don't know how much the devs want to
to
move away from like Overwatch's experience between 5v5 and 6v6. Like there's already like extra 2 players in the lobby, and then beyond that, it's like how much further do we want to move away? Like
Move away? Like it's moving back towards 5v5 to reduce the cooldowns, right? Yeah, you can reduce the intensity of the AoE effects by like 10%, and that wouldn't change the game to like moment to moment gameplay. You could keep the effects all doing the same thing. That'd be absolutely fine. I mean, the only actual reason not to do that is to do less work. 6v6 was there first.
because you're talking about cooldowns now and stuff like that.
It's not necessarily further because it's already further. Like they've already increased the tank cooldown
Yeah,
cycles.
they were the ones that fucked this up. It was fine before.
Anything, I'm saying dial it back closer to 5v5.
Right.
You kind of get what I'm saying? Oh.
I feel like this. I'm gonna throw an idea out there. Might be fucking stupid. This might again be a bell curve meme where I'm just like suggesting the obvious.
The thing is, the mode needs the dialing back of lethality on tanks. The mode needs the DPS passive removed. The mode ideally needs Season 9 reverted in general. So I don't know what reality the person who put Annihilate on 14-second was. So bad, man.
Says that probably the biggest thing it lacks is a vision. I don't know what the internal wranglings of the team are. I don't know if there's like a section of them who
just hire Didact. Just hire Didact. It's not that hard. He will just do it for you. He'd probably even do it for free if he can work remote.
also staunch 66ers, right? Who are like some section of the balance team are also like, yeah, fucking 66 was better, and they want
Any development is better than none, though. Don't you get it? Like any development.
to put their hands on 66 and they want to develop it, but they're not being allowed to. But it would probably just be worth throwing like a Samito or a Hawk, just like just literally hiring them, even if it's on a consultancy basis, and just being like, you create a vision and we're just gonna
Damn right, SVB. Damn right.
let you balance it. And like you can even be very direct. And in the past I would have shied away from suggesting something like this because I'd have been like, just no way Blizzard does this. But they've done a really good job of incorporating community members into the development team recently. Like Custa, famously, like Liz is in
Please don't, yeah, don't hire Sam. You need to hire people that are very intelligent about this. I think Didact's fucking dev notes, right? He's clearly very good at the things that he does. Like this is incredible, and quite frankly is that's a CV in and of itself, quite frankly. We've done so much for the mode. I feel like it's one of these things where, sure, like these people can give you advice on what to do, but realistically, would they know to move in a good direction or not? I think Sam clearly very easily would fix the tank cooldown problems, but aside from that, it's difficult. It's difficult to know. And I know that they're very hesitant, specifically because everyone likes different types of things and nobody's really like made a concerted effort to say what feels bad or good at the moment. Because quite frankly, they released a bad version of 6v6 and everyone says, well, they fucked it and just went somewhere else.
team now as well. A few other people who've like kind of been in the ecosystem.
They're a lot more open to feedback period.
Yeah, and they've kind of been incorporated into the system, right? And I legit think you could, like, Hawk would love this job of just like, yeah, okay, you be the spearhead, you be the communicator, right? You're the guy who gives the 6v6 dev updates. You're the guy who says, this is why I did, this is why the team did what we did. And like, here's the vision. And then at least that way you have like a subsection existing on its own ecosystem without this like push and pull, right? Like the problem is you don't want to do this. The main team developers are being forced to balance it. And then the counter accusation is they don't really want to balance 6v6. They're giving us a half-assed job. This isn't really the 6v6 we wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So like create that like, okay, you guys, you do your thing. We're going to empower you. And like, hopefully that goes well. And like, let that see how it goes. Like if it goes badly, you can reassess that 6 months down the line and say, this ain't working. We need to cut 6v6. Yep. Or you like say, actually, this is going really well. The players are more and more engaged. Let's see where else we can take them.
I don't see a reason why they couldn't do these community patches once a month. Like there's no reason. Realistically, numbers change balance patches don't actually take a lot of time. That's a simple answer. If they do, you're fucking up, and they should take less time. Changing numbers should be really easy in your systems, like just really easy.
That's right, because I think this system isn't going to work. They need to give someone like you're in charge of 6v6 Overwatch.
Real quick, if Samito made it to the dev team, you could officially call him a shill.
This is true.
Yes, that's true. We could. Shout out my boy Ralph.
Hey, it's me.
I legitimately think like the
Why,
vision
why
for
am I getting shouted out? What's happening?
Own ecosystem without this like push and pull, right? Like the problem is you don't want to do this.
That's me.
The main team developers are being forced to balance it, and then the counter accusation is they don't really want to balance 6v6. They're giving us a half-assed
Well, they
job.
clearly don't want to balance 6v6. They're not doing it. They're not doing it.
This isn't really the 6v6 we wanted. So like create that like, okay, you guys, you do your
Why
thing.
does Avril look so smug right now? Damn, like SCB's bang on here. Like if they're not going to do it, they need to outsource it in some way, shape, or form. There's so many people that would do their job for free. Like so many people.
Real quick, if
I
Samito
feel
made
like-
it to the dev team, you could officially call him a shill.
If Samito made it to the dev team, you could officially call him a shill.
This is true.
Yes, that's true. We could shout out my
Let's
boy
big on the dev
Ralph.
team.
What's he shouting me out? I don't know.
I legitimately think like the vision for 6v6 that I see in contrast to 5v5 is we were talking a little bit about it. That's huge, Flats. That's crazy. We were talking about it like earlier where 5v5 is like a little bit more autonomy, more flexibility, more dynamism. Sure. I have always looked at 6v6, at least if you want to go back to the old days of like, is the ultimate team. Like if you pick the synergies, you pick your Ryan Zarya, you get your Bap Lucio, you get your Genji with Zarya bubble, you're just going to run the lobby. And to be honest,
No, 6v6 is a game that has team synergies, right? Like, it's a game that has the thing. You have angle maxing and you have team synergies. You have everything. I may have mentioned you in chat. Oh, no.
they need to lean.
I'm referring to you being the guy for the 6v6 vision. Mwah. It's so frustrating. And I think SCB is right. If they're not going to develop it, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't just hand it over or get somebody to tell them more or less a direction to go in. As you say, community patches, numbers changes patches. If a numbers change patch takes a lot of time, then just let play stop pausing. Then I think it's crazy. Like it shouldn't take time.
Into that more. They need to make they need to allow and encourage any sort of insane synergies. No self-reliant tanks, no self-reliant supports. Everything is reliant partly off of your team. Maybe I'm cooking too much there, but like that's where I think the vision of 6v6 is different than 5v5. And rather than trying to lean away to it and make it more like 5v5, I think they just need to make it more like 6v6. And
Well, what we've done is we diversified the play space. We tried to make the designs as unique as possible instead of generalizing them like you have to in order to make designs in 5v5. Because at the end of the day, no, I don't think anyone's arguing this anymore, that 6v6 isn't more permitting for diverse, bullshitty designs than 5v5 is by default. Like, it just is more permitting for chaos and stupid stuff and weird stuff and things that are out there, because, like, the extra tank helps control all of the sharp points, and the more players help even out all of the sharp interactions. That's just the thing. So, like, why wouldn't you make the entire thing just more diverse?
like, if you have the OP tank synergy, you win. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's just how it goes, because people want that high. They want that because that's what's different than 5v5 in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. Like, OP tank synergy, well, I just want tank synergy in general, but if you're gonna make, like, why not amp it to a 10? I don't care. If we get a community patch that is tank synergy amp to a 10, synergy between all characters go to 11, I'd love to try that. That sounds really fun. That would be really cool. All we need to do is number changes to get there, right? Like, this cannot be more than a week worth of work for one person. Can you just hire someone, please, to do this? It can't be that much work, surely. You get a bunch of creators on a call together, you ask them their ideas, then you implement it. Like, Didact already does it in Workshop. I know it takes more time to be able to ship these from things to consoles and other things like that. Packaging takes a lot of time in the development cycle, I get that. But it can't take more than a month to do this for one person's worth of work, and it will bring life to the mode, right? Like, it seems like a no-brainer to me. They just seem to always miss the easy slam dunks for some reason. I never get why.
Get the Flats, because Flats, actually, you mentioned earlier that 6v6 Overwatch is your preferred tank experience, right? Like, not necessarily overall, but you want to play that version.
Well, he didn't play it. He played it for about 10 minutes, complained the entire time, and then was like, oh, go back to Rivals. I don't like tanking this. But he didn't really internalize why he didn't like it.
And so where do you stand on, like, 6v6? Is there ever a thing that would, like, make you play it more consistently?
Oh, to give you context, actually, the last time I played the base game was I played 6v6 and I grinded to, like, top 30. And then I was like, yep, I'm good. I'm all set actually on this.
Solve the game.
Yeah, and it's, well, I mean, like, you can tell it's not a supported game mode. Like, why would I care about a game mode that's not cared about, right? Like, doesn't get
There can only be one legitimate game mode realistically at any one point in time. The existence of 5v5 role queue means that 6v6 open queue will by default be seen as a non-serious game mode, and the diversity and the splitting of the player base between like 10 different game modes is causing all of the queues and all the game modes to be worse by that degree.
patches, like Swell was saying, like, they made some decisions with it in fear of sustain or whatever it might have been, and that's totally fine. but like they never did anything else with it, and it's clearly not even the redheaded stepchild. It's like worse. It's like fucking orphan that found its way under the deck, and like they just said, "Fuck it, you could stay there." You know what I mean? Like
He's fucking Harry
it's
Potter
sad.
living under the closet.
And it does feel like it's just throwing you a bone saying screw you at a certain point, doesn't it? They did all the tests and then they just like throw it out 4.5 patches later, there's no changes. And I'm like, well, I guess they just were trying to sate you without doing anything in order to make the experience actually good for some reason.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. And like obviously Stadium took like the wind out of all the sales of 6v6 stuff, which is totally fine. You know, I also think that a lot of the 6v6 people kind of stopped. They just like don't care. Like they
went
felt
to
like
rivals. That you actually just lost them all to rivals. Genuinely, like loads of people just moved on because you didn't make their game mode for such a long period of time, and you basically for like 2 years solidly, pretty much just without saying it, told them to fuck off. Right? They're like, we don't care. We don't want to talk about it. Everything else like that. They basically said no, none of you. And people just moved on if they turned off. So no shit, people didn't come back for 6v6 in order to be able to play the game mode again. Like they've moved on. They're in different video games now. It sucks.
like they fought so hard to get 6v6, then they got it, and like it's like there it is, but it's not what they actually wanted. So they're just like, I mean, it happens with a lot of things in life. Like imagine like things that you like genuinely want or genuinely like are excited for, and then you get it and it's not actually what you were looking for. Like
no, it's they have not given me it. I did not want 6v6. I want 6v6 actively balanced. They have not given me the thing I asked for.
it's close, but it's like, no,
Yeah.
you got to do these other things, but like, you know, you got what you wanted technically, and so everyone's kind of like you're kind of like, well, we fought so hard, and it's like, well, do we really want to keep fighting for this? Because like it's clearly not going to get the support that we really wanted it to. And then obviously there's the debates about like, I think the big one is between open queue and roll queue. And like roll queue, I think is what people really liked. The 6v6 roll queue is what a lot of people remembered wanting, but it's not possible. So
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Stop it. No, stop it. Bad Dobby. Stop it. Stop lying. Why are you saying these things? Why don't you look into it? At the base level, there's no reason to expect that the tank population would not be roughly similar to the DPS population if you just put roll queue in. All evidence has pointed towards them being more or less the same in terms of proportion. Go queue 6v6 right now and tell me if you're able to lock into tank before somebody else does. Like, come on.
only can get open queue, and the open queue
The
version
biggest Mandela effect of the whole humanity.
is okay, but it's not quite the same structure that you really wanted from before. And so I think a lot of people see the writing on the wall and just go, well, okay, well, I'll play this every once in a while. And I think those people do still play 6v6, but I think they're much quieter now. And I think it's a much smaller group. And I think that
I think most people just moved on from the game. They got given what they wanted, and basically they got told that they don't care, right? It wasn't that we're ignoring you, and we might care if you get us to acknowledge it, right? It was, here you go, but it's bad, and it's like, oh, so it just is what it is, right? Like, what's the point in arguing for balance changes and other things like that? Like, you just don't care? Okay, I guess we'll move on to a different game.
a lot of people that maybe tried it from 5v5 that never played 6v6, tried it, looked at it and said, this wasn't that fun. I don't know what the hype is. And because it never got any other changes that brought it closer to what people's ideal 6v6 experience was, they never went back to try it again because it's not supported and it never got any changes anyways. So it's almost like remember like Overwatch Classics? Like there was some certain metas that they did for Overwatch Classic that like, if you played it back then was really fun or not fun or whatever it was. And then they brought it back in Classic and people went, oh, like, why do people like this? And then you discovered there's like 19 bugs that actually like didn't work. Like it wasn't actually the patch, like because like these 3 or 4 characters that were hard meta at the time actually are broken and weren't correct. So it didn't actually feel the way that
Yeah, everyone's not even listening at this point.
supposed to feel, but you get the perception of like, oh, I tried it.
It's like when someone says we totally need to meet up soon, and then you suggest dates, they cancel, and you go again, they cancel, and it's like, well, ball isn't in my court. Yeah, like 100% it is.
I didn't understand the hype, you know.
It's
I
like,
think
it's not even
66
worth
had a
trying.
similar thing happen to it. And you know, I know have friends as well that actually, when they do go back to play Overwatch, they actually play the 66 mode at this point. But even that, like they just play Rivals now because like Rivals actually feels supported, and like the 66 in Overwatch doesn't feel supported, so like they have an alternative now.
Yeah, you need an air of legitimacy in order for the game mode to be worth playing. There's no air of legitimacy in a game mode that's unsupported, so why would I play that? If I say I want to play Overwatch, I really want to rank up and get better at the game, would I play 6v6? Probably not, right? Like why would I? There's no legitimacy to it. It's just,
I think that's actually the true answer. I think the reason why you don't see the 66ers talk that much anymore is they play rivals.
True.
And you don't invite them onto the Group Hop podcast, god damn it.
Probably
Real talk.
true. Probably true.
Because
Well,
like
Maybe it's
one
a
of those-
losing battle.
I just wanted to say really quick. I think the scariest thing is not when people complain or bitch or whatever. It's when they stop bitching and they stop complaining. Because I'd rather have people be upset than people not care.
Yep.
Apathy is worse than rage.
Yep. It's not a lack of want for the game mode. It's the fact that we don't think there's any way of it becoming reasonable, right? It sucks.
True. Although, obviously, if we can get them to be happy, that'd be nice. But then who's happy in the fucking internet era? So there's that.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on 6v6 before we move on to the next bit? Anything else? Arrow, you munching something?
I'm just glad the debate is like pretty much over. Like, you know, and I still don't truly know what version of 6v6 people want still. So it's like hard. Like I think I agree. I don't know what the direction of it is,
No,
but
you won't talk to me, so yeah.
I don't even know. I fully understand what the direction of 5v5 is either. Like, just Overwatch at the end of the day. Maybe I'm looking at it too simplistically, but yeah.
I look at it this way: 66 open queue is a must. There's no other because the queue times is unsolvable without it.
No, bad, Dobby, bad. What are you doing? Spilo, stop fucking Mandela-ing yourself. Why are you saying this? Who said this? Who convinced you of this? Like, what happened, right? Do we just repeat something that's untrue over and over again? I'm not Mandela, like, oh, come on. It's unsolvable, even though the tests showed that it seemed absolutely fine and every single match has 2 tanks in it. No, you played the game. Come on. You played the game for 5 years. Come on, man. Like, there's no reason to believe that there isn't a proportionate amount of tanks if tanks are given a reasonable level. Like, tanks currently have like 4-second longer cooldowns than they should on every single one of their fucking abilities, and still every single mode has 2-2-2 in it. The tests are disproportionately attractive for tanks. I'm not saying it's an accurate representation. I'm saying that right now, go queue for open queue 6v6 and tell me if you can lock tank before other people. Right now, right? There's loads, man. There's loads. They're there. There's no reason to believe they're not there. You can't say because, like, well, we had a mode with 2 main tanks, Winston and Reinhardt, that there was proportionate representation of hero diversity within that roster. Because still 6v6 is the queue for people wanting to play tank stack. You think it's only that? If it's a queue for people wanting to play tank stack, then we have enough tank players to make it role queue anyway. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it's not attractive to any other role, but it's certainly more for that. I just think that there's no reason to believe if tanks were appropriately treated, that there wouldn't be a proportionate amount of tank players. There's no reason to believe that. I don't think that's true. I can agree that it's not been tested thoroughly. Yes, and I would state as a proposition that the stuff that we have seen has showed it to be significantly better than before. I think you can probably agree on that in terms of the role distribution. So first off, not unsolvable because it's significantly better. So if we move further in that direction, maybe it would have enough tank players. And secondly, the tank role is the role in the 6v6 format that has been negatively affected by their balance changes the most, right? Because they are actively the people that got the longer cooldowns, right? So maybe if we moved in that direction through that, maybe we'd get even more. And then I go on to my pugs, right? Like, obviously my pugs are the types of places where people are more likely, so it's completely unrepresentative. I'm not even saying it is, but I look at my pugs where I've made the same amount of tanks as our DPS, and I look at the cast between them. I think, well, I don't even want to play a DPS, right? They're not even that interesting, right? There's so many cool tanks in the game. And like, I don't know. I don't think there's any reason to believe that we would not have a proportionate amount of tank players, and it always irks me how people say it so ridiculously confidently. Like, oh, this is completely solved, there's no problem at all, yeah, we can't do anything about this, when we've already done stuff about it by releasing more heroes with more diverse playstyles and improving the tank experience in so many different ways, reducing stuns. We've already done it. We've already done the work, right? We can see the effects. It's helping. Why can't we just say maybe? Or why are we confidently saying no, I guess is the question to me, right? That's my frustration. Like, it's been Avril, Flats, and you all saying this with, I'm gonna say, no evidence, right? Like, there's no evidence, and sure, I don't have evidence that there's no concrete thing here regardless, but like, it's, we can't do anything about this, a statement of fact, and I'm like, that ain't a fact, and realistically, I don't think the evidence leads in that direction. So, and I'm not coping here, I'm trying not to cope. If I didn't think that we had enough tank players, I wouldn't be making this argument just because I like 6v6, right? There is a very good argument to be made that if we just went to role queue, everything would more or less be fine, right? There's a very reasonable argument to make. You can't use 5v5 as an analogy. You can't use the old patch or the 2020 or something like that as an analogy. There's no analogy to use, so we don't have evidence. But we do have a couple of lines, and the lines all lead in the same direction, so why are we confidently saying they don't?
Yeah.
Right?
I look at it this way: 66 open queue is a must. There's no other, because the queue times is unsolvable without it.
See? So confident, right? So confident.
Has to be 66 open queue. You cannot make 66 the base game. It's way too much of a pivot. Like realistically, too fast. 66 would have to organically build up a player base, but to build up the player base, it deserves to receive the development time that it deserves for the player base it currently has.
And from damn fucking right, yeah, it deserves somebody to pay attention to it. I think one of the problems with the 6v6 balancing right now is just like Avril, right? Avril doesn't know what to do with it. He doesn't even know what people want, right? I think that's the default place that the developers are right now. And they need somebody to tell them what the players want, or experience what the players want, or play the game themselves so they can see what's working, what's not.
Somebody that is actually invested in the game mode, and then we'll see what happens. But we can't make it a self-fulfilling prophecy by saying nobody wants to play this game mode, so we don't play any development. Well, then we'll just give it the development that deserves the playtime that it gets. Just like Stadium is getting right now. Stadium has its own development team. I'm sure it gets as much investment into how many players that it has. Same thing goes with 5v5, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, if it's like, you guys remember the whole PvE things where they did the
or at least try out developing it for a month or two, right? Just put in effort for a couple of months, see if it's tapering off, and then act accordingly. That's all I want. I'm not saying I want constant development on a game mode that's getting worse and worse over time. You can pull out the effort whenever you want. I just want to see it to begin with. You can't just like do one patch with 6v6 changes, pull it out and be, we tried.
events, like the weird arcadey style games. Remember that stuff? Like there was like the Moira one with like the
Blackwatch and stuff.
Lovecraftian. Yeah, they cut all the resources to those things because, no offense, they were boring. You play them a few times and then nobody ever played them again. Now, I'm not saying that those people deserve to lose their jobs. It's always sad, but the result was that got way too much development time for the amount of players that was put in.
Yeah, so the same as Stadium. As Random says, Stadium gets way too much development time.
And get the result. Right now, I think 66 probably deserves more development time than it gets in terms of play hours. And if you just look at it from that standpoint, it really simplifies the argument.
And I don't know why Smiley feels defensive here. Is it because Avril actively like went at him when he said it? I think it should get a roughly proportionate amount of dev time. How much more? Tell me what it needs to do. Like, no, it just needs to be developed and cared for, because people fucking love this game mode.
If it's good, then it will improve. If it's not good, then it won't improve. But right now, it's definitely neither side is going to be happy with the result where we're at right now.
Yeah, I think that the 6v6 debate clearly could go on infinitely. And I got people in my chat still, and I'm sure in everyone's chat, still arguing vehemently, life and death, that like, bring 6v6 back, 5v5 is shit, no, 6v6 is shit. Get a job, guys, get a job. So the next thing, I mean, there's a few like minor...
Get a job, man. SVB, you're a full-time content creator. Glass houses, man. It's so frustrating, right? And it's frustrating to get it assured and to have so much like vitriol at the mode for kind of like really no reason, just because, I don't know why Avril's so against it. He speaks a good game of not being against it, but then he's clearly irked in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what 6v6 did to him. The game mode will die without development support. First off, because it's not a good game mode. That's first off. And second off, because it lacks legitimacy without the development support. That's just how it is. I don't think there's a way to get around that. I think it just is true. They need to reach out for community inspiration, if not community development, in order to get the game mode into a better place, because I don't think Blizzard currently knows what direction to go with the game mode. I think it just is that simple. It's so sad, isn't it? So sad to have put all this effort into something and just feel like it's just been abandoned.